Good morning, guys. We're getting ready to head out. We are leaving the cold temperatures here in South Carolina for a little warmer, hopefully a warmer climate down in Florida.
Yay.
It's the week of ending Christmas, going into New Year's, and the rig is ready in the background. You might can see the tail lights. We're packed up, ready to go, and it's early in the morning. So join us for our adventure today as we travel down to Florida. And hopefully we're going to experience some new stuff this week.
Yay.
All right. So that is the look of defeat. Kelly has literally been fighting with this camera for, I don't know, about 25 minutes or so. Battery died.
Oh, yeah.
So she had to pull it back out.
And now I can't get the power to come on. Well, that being that was the case.
It's always something. Always. So have you got it fixed?
I've at least pushed the button. Now I'm gonna get it back up there.
And why did the button start working all of a sudden?
Because you said take it down, let me see. That's what.
So I fixed it without having to fix it.
Right. Praise Jesus. An hour down the road, I have the action camera ready to record our road footage. It's great. And the button's working. It only took an hour.
Poor child.
This is what happens when you fall asleep. You get videoed.
I'm glad they're sleeping then. It makes the ride go by faster.
That's right. Because it ain't going by very fast right here.
No, this is the lovely I-95.
I-26, I-95.
Where everybody's trying to go.
Alright, today's travel day, and we don't see a lot of travel day videos out there. So what is travel day really like? For a lot of people, I think it's very hectic. Don't you agree?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
People try to do it just all on a whim all of a sudden instead of kind of planning a couple of days in advance, you know?
Yeah, and we're planners just by nature. So if you've listened to us or read anything about us so far, you know that we're both middle school teachers, and therefore we are very structured, and we have to plan for ourselves very well. We don't wing it well on travel days for the most part. There's some people that are real good at that, and that's awesome. I wish I was better at winging it, but I think we feel like we have to plan a lot of stuff out, okay?
One of the things I do to help us out is make a list. And so I'm a list person, and I like to cross off my list on the morning and the night before, everything. Then I make one more list on the night before to cross off those last minute things that have to go in the camper or the truck, because I don't want to forget anything. And so lists help me out a great deal. So I had a packing list for everybody, had a grocery packing list, I had a meal planning list. Lists are great. So if you're a type A kind of person, like I am, and so is he, we like to make lists, check off our little checklist every time we go somewhere. So that is a big help for us. I don't do well when I don't have my list.
I'm also a list person, but not necessarily a write it down list person. I'm a mental list person, and I have certain things. I'm kind of in charge of the mechanical stuff, making sure the truck is ready, make sure the trailer's ready. So about a day before, maybe 2 days before, I start running through that list, and I'll make sure the truck is full of fuel before we leave. I don't want to have to stop until we absolutely have to on the trip, just for time purposes. And I'll go through my routine for the trailer. I'll check the tires, I'll make sure that the air is properly inflated. Yep. Check the spare. We have an onboard air compressor, which is really nice with a 2.5 gallon tank, so makes us feel a lot safer as we travel. And then I'll check the tires on the truck and make sure they're properly inflated, check oil and all of that, just to make sure everything's good to go. Kind of clean out the inside of the truck. I know it doesn't always look that way, but we do try to do that before we leave. And this trip, we're gone for a week, so we want to make sure that we have all our goodies together and games for the kids and just things to do.
Yeah.
So we make sure that those are all packed as well.
So we probably started packing, what, about 2 or 3 days ago?
Yeah, about 2 days before.
Yeah.
You know, that's good for us. That helps us out. There's a wild hog. Look at that big old wild hog.
There is.
Sorry. Squirrel moment there.
But literally a hog.
Yeah,
not a squirrel.
Literally a wild hog on the side of the road.
Side of the interstate. I couldn't whip the camera around to get it, but it was pretty large, yeah.
So that's part of our travel day. Now, the other part of our travel day is the actual traveling part, the driving part. So what do? I like to get up early and get on the road before we hit a lot of traffic.
Yeah,
now,
we got up before the sunrise this morning.
Yeah, that was nice to get on the road before the sunrise. Number one, you start your day early. You feel like you accomplished something. And when you get to your destination, I think you still have time left to do stuff if you're not too wiped out. Now, today is a long drive for us. So some people don't like to drive more than 3 or 4 hours. We're folks who don't mind driving 8 or 9 hours, you know, if it takes that to get somewhere.
Because we like to use our time there more than traveling. So we'd rather do all of that on the first day if we can, don't you think?
Yeah, especially on this trip that we have.
Yeah, because we only have a week, so.
We only have 6 days really to do stuff down in Florida. And so we want to make the most of that. So we're doing about an 8-hour drive today, 8.5 hours, something like that. We left at about 6:30, and we should get there between 3:30 and 4.
The kids and I made it all the way to like a halfway point for gas, potty, and snack break. So we did pretty well on the first time. They slept most of the morning. So that with kids, that's always a good thing. If you can get it where they can just get up and go to the truck and sleep for some of the trip, that's always nice. For them, it passes the trip by quicker, and it helps with traveling to go a little longer without having to stop. So we're going to try to make it another good amount of time. Hopefully, maybe I'll make it all the way back down if nobody has to stop and potty. I don't know.
We'll be close.
It'll be close.
But the kids have stuff to do. They've got their devices back there, and they've got some books to read, magazines, activities. They got a few things for Christmas that are activity-based, learning-based, that they can do and not be too bored. Plus, they've been riding a lot.
Yeah.
We've been traveling for a couple of years now by vehicle, and so they've gotten used to it. And you'll hear them whenever we say, "Oh, we have a 4-hour drive today," and they'll be like, "Oh, that's nothing."
Yeah.
And so that's great to hear, because then they're not going to complain too much when it comes to that 4-hour drive. Now, the only exception to that is when they get hungry, because once they get hungry,
yes, past the point of no return then.
yeah, it's on at that point.
Yeah.
So
you keep them fed. We take a bag of snacks in the truck with us. We got a soft-sided cooler back here with drinks, and so that keeps the necessary stopping down to a minimum of just gas and potty if you need to. But they usually do pretty well. They've been traveling since they were babies. Not necessarily the camper, but we do go. People who know us ask us, "Are y'all ever home?" And so they're used to driving 2 or 3 hours is pretty normal around for us. So a 6 to 8 hour drive is just a little longer. And so they've gotten kind of used to that, which is nice. Some people have, say that they can't believe that we travel that much, but the kids have gotten used to it, and they're older now, which makes it a little easier, that they can kind of self-entertain. So, traveling with kids, that's our tips for traveling with kids. We got, 14-year-old and a 10-year-old now, so.
Yeah. The other part is the actual drive. No matter what you're driving, whether it's a Class A, a Class C, a travel trailer, a fifth wheel, just a small pull behind, whatever it might be, or even just a plain vehicle, camper van, you have to be aware, you've got to be alert, you've got to be ready. Okay, so there's a couple things that I like to do as I drive. I like to make sure I have distance behind the vehicle. I do not like to follow vehicles very close, especially on the interstate, because you never know when somebody is going to do something crazy. There's that kind of unwritten rule that you leave that space in there, and we all as RVers know what's going to happen. Someone is going to cut into that space, and that's where your patience just has to come in. You have to learn to be patient as a driver, even if you're not as patient maybe when you don't have your pull behind back there, because you've got a lot of weight. We're total gross weight of the truck and camper is over 22,000 pounds. That's a lot of weight if something bad were to happen, and there are dire consequences when you do have something like that happen. So take your time, drive a comfortable speed for you. Don't try to push yourself too hard, or if you're on a time crunch schedule, whatever, and you're trying to get there at a certain time, you can't really worry about that when you're pulling a heavy vehicle, towing a heavy vehicle. So that's my advice, and you just have to do what's best for you. Practice. That's the only way to get better at driving if you're a newbie. I've been driving, I guess, trailers in some form or fashion for years. I pulled a tractor behind the truck. I pulled a boat. So I've been used to pulling something, but this fifth wheel is probably the heaviest I've ever pulled, as far as that goes, weight goes. So that's my advice.
You have to be ready for whatever could happen, because a lot of times people don't like to be behind you being slower, so they'll jump right in front of you, and so you have to be really careful of that. And so as I have been learning how to drive this, I've gotten to the point where I want to make sure that I'm okay going at my pace and not worry about everybody else. They can go around you. There's other lanes, especially on the interstate. You go your pace, as you have the bigger vehicle that you have to take care of and to be cautious and safe. So I've gotten to the point where I'm just going to go my pace. It's usually about 65, 70 miles an hour on the interstate, maybe 72, but not much over that. So I'm much more comfortable at that speed on the highway. So be okay going your pace and not worry about what everybody else is doing around you. And that way you can be safe for you and your family.
Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys all next time. Bye!